Do you have an old leaking toilet that needs maintenance, but instead you prefer to replace it? Then come along with me and I'll show you how to install it quick and easy. Let's go. Hey guys, Musa here from Quantum Home Improvements and Solutions. Welcome back to the channel. And so today I'm with my friend Salmin.
Hi everyone.
So Salmin reached out to me a few weeks ago and said that he has a leaking toilet. So Salmin, tell me what was happening?
So the toilet has a very slow leak, and after a while, the water will fill up automatically.
So you can hear the cistern filling up.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's a bit annoying.
Yeah. And there's a lot of loss of water over a period of time.
That's correct.
Yeah. So Salmin thought he'd probably just do some maintenance initially and just change the seals, but then he thought about it that if it doesn't work, then he's going to have to replace it anyway. So he decided to just get a new toilet. He asked me and I gave him a bit of advice. So it's important to actually know what kind of toilet you're buying. So there are a lot of cheap ones on the market, and me personally, I have a Caroma at home and it's the Opal series, and I've had it for 10 years and it's a brilliant toilet, but it's a closed couple toilet and very expensive. Now, Salmin just wanted a basic one that works really well. So I suggested to him to get the basic Caroma, which is a good brand and it's a good product. Now, the cistern itself is 6 litre, but it can be reduced down to 4.5, and so we'll be doing that as well. So it's very important when you are looking for a toilet to understand there's a P trap toilet and an S trap toilet. And in this case here, whenever it goes to the floor, it's called an S trap. When it goes out into the wall, it's called a P trap. So make sure you don't get trapped on that. And the next thing to look out for is the setback. So the setback is from the wall to the center of the waste of the sewer pipe. And so that setback is a very specific figure. And most toilets can go from a range of about 120, 140 to about 220, 240. So you've got to make sure you get the right toilet that has the right setback. So as I said, this is a basic model, and Salmin bought it from Bunnings and at a really good price. And it's very deceiving to see the quality in the price he paid for it. And so if you were to buy just the cistern alone, it was almost the same price as buying the whole unit. Okay, so it is getting dark pretty quickly, so we'll get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is just take this toilet out. We'll turn the mains taps off and then we'll unbox the new one. Okay, so I'm going to dismantle the whole toilet. I'll just take the cistern cover off. I'll pass that to Salmin. I'm also going to turn this tap off. All right, I'll just flush the toilet. All right, so I just take these 2 screws out. Okay, as I figured, they're rusted. All right, so these screws pretty much are the only things that hold the cistern up, but it does sit on the seat as well. Okay, so I've just got the measuring tape, and you'll see here that the cistern is off-centered. So the center of the room would be roughly here, but the cistern is actually too far to the left. So that's basically 155 mil from the end of the cistern to the wall, but this side here is 220. So there's a big difference. So I'm going to try to center this toilet. Now the only way you can do that is by changing the collar. So the S-trap collar, and I'm not sure if I can do that yet until I take the toilet out. So we'll just take this off and I'll pass it to Salmin. Okay, so I'll just undo the hose and there we go. That's the cistern and that's out. Okay, so the next thing to do is take the seat off. And so it's basically just some wing nuts on the back here. So it's hard to see it from there. I can't put the camera that far down. And so that's out. All right, we've done that. We'll get rid of that as well. So the next thing to do is give the toilet a kick. It's the only way to take it out properly. Now, so this has been concreted in, it's been cemented in, which is the old way of putting toilets in. Okay, so I'll get something to give this a kick, and I'll get him to hit it roughly about there. Now just do it softly first, and then just give it a couple of kicks until it comes loose. All right, so if you're going to give that a kick, okay, a little bit harder next time. Okay, a little bit harder. Okay, take a little bit of step back and give it a little bit of force. Yep, go again. Okay, so this room is very narrow. It's only 800 mil wide. So there is a technique that you can use here. Now my legs aren't very strong, but I know the technique, so I'm going to give this a shot. And so I do have boots on. So I'm going to hold on to the wall and I'm going to give this a good kick. So I've kicked this a little bit too hard and damaged the wall here, but I will repair that. Okay, so it is actually, concrete is definitely not the right way to put toilets in these days. So it is very hard to get them back out. So I'm going to get Salmin to take this outside and we'll clean everything up. All this concrete needs to be removed. So I'm just going to take it out. Just be careful you don't damage the tiles. So you can see here, the tiles have been broken just in this little section. That's a common thing. The reason they do that is so the cement can stick to something more solid than just tiles. And that's why it's very hard to take this one out. Okay, so now I'm just going to remove the hose. All right, that's now rubbish. Okay, so now I'm just going to use some Dafco tile and grout cleaner just to clean these tiles. So this is only a 1 to 10 mix, so it's 10 parts water, 1 part solution. So I'm only going to put a little bit in here. Actually, I'll take this tap out of the way. I'm replacing this tap. It's always good when you are changing your toilet to change all the fittings because this is the right time to do it. So once you've done that, you need to wipe it all back off with warm water. So if you could just drop some water in there, just the whole lot. Beautiful. Thanks, Tommy. So now this is the collar where the trap goes into and seals with this black rubber. Now the black rubber is damaged, so it's the right time to change it. Okay, so using a diamond cut blade and my Makita grinder, I'm going to cut this collar off and I'm going to put another collar and we're going to offset it. Okay, so I'm just going to chip this out. Okay, that's out. So that's the title piece of the collar. Give this another wipe. Okay, so while this is all clear, I'm going to put the mini cistern cog on, the tap. And so first of all, I'm going to put the Teflon on. Okay, that's almost it. And there it's looking pretty good. And there it is. All right, so we'll just close it off. And now I'll get Salmi to turn the water back on. Okay, so now we're going to put the offset collar on. And so the way this works, you can see there's a section here bulging out and here's not. So I'll just turn that around so you can see it bulging. So what we're going to do here is correct the distance of the toilet marginally. So now I'm just going to use some Protect primer and just primer the edge. Just here. Okay. Okay, so I'll just primer inside the pipe as well. Okay, so the primer just gives it a good surface to stick the PVC cement to. Okay, so now I'm just going to use Protect PVC cement, also known as glue. Okay, so I will put this on both sides. So I'll put it on the collar and also inside the pipe. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in and push it in as far as I can. All right, that's in and done. Beautiful. Okay, so we'll just open the box and see what we've got. Okay, so first thing we've got is the toilet. We'll just lift that up and just take this box out of the way. Okay, all right, so now this is the system. It is quite big. So we just look for the instructions. So they're in here somewhere. There we go. Pull that out. Okay, if you can grab that, Xiaomin. Okay, so here's the instructions. Okay, and that's the most important part, the height that we put the cistern on. There are 2 different types of cisterns on this instruction. So there's the Solitaire and there's also the Uniset II. So this is the one we're using. So it's pretty easy instruction. So first of all, you measure to the center of your waist. And here I've got 375. So I'll just mark from the wall, 375. You can actually use a level as well. Now I have left my level at home, so I'm gonna have to rely on this little level. So from that mark, we're gonna go out to either end, and it's gonna be in total 457. So I'm just going to divide that by 2 and just put a mark. Okay, so from the ground upwards, we're going to go 762, which is just there. Okay, so now I'm just going to use this little straight edge and put the level on there. There we go. All right, that's there and there. So that's basically our screw holes. And I've discovered, perfect. I've got a stud in the middle, which is going to be great to hold the cistern up. So that's fantastic. Okay. All right, so I'll just put the first one in. I'll just run the second one. Now this will be plugs. Okay. Okay, so I'm not a big fan of these plugs. They generally don't work the best. So I'm going to use a wall mate instead. So this is a aluminium wall mate. Okay, that's much better. And I'll put that in. Okay, so now I'll just put the cistern on. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now to convert this into a 4.5 litre flush, I need to just slip this in. Okay, so just slip this, just open it up. Okay, so just slip that through, sits in beautifully. Okay, so the 6 litre is the beige one at the lower point, and the clear one is higher, so it won't allow it to go any more than that. So now we need to cut this pipe that comes from the cistern and distributes the water into the bowl itself. So we need to do that at the right length. So the setback for this toilet is 120 to 220. So there's a wide range. So we're going to have to fix it to the range that we need. Okay, so the way to put it on, basically just put the thread in and you put this rubber on. And so basically that just comes in from underneath and seals it off. Okay, you just screw it in. So I'm just going to test this out. So I'll sit the bowl over the collar. Okay, that's sitting in nicely. Okay, so now I'm just going to measure from this elbow, which I've just put in temporarily, and measure how far we need to go into the actual bowl. And that's basically 105 mil. So from that point there, I need 105 mil. Okay, so I measured 105. I'm actually just going to go just 100, make it a little bit easier. All right, so now I'll just cut this section off. Okay, so now we're going to use this beige rubber. So you place it on top of the section we just cut, push that all the way in, make sure it's all the way in. Okay, so basically it's going to be flush with the pipe. Okay, so I've taken the cistern out of the way. Now I'm going to spray some soapy water onto this rubber bit and push it into the pipe. There it is all the way. Now you've got to make sure that this sits in the hole properly. That's it, perfect. And so then we'll put the cistern on top of that. And so that way we'll marry the holes up. A little bit tricky. All right, that's it, done. She's in. And all we do is just close that off. Okay, so I did jump the gun and unfortunately the inlet is on the wrong side, but it is pretty easy to change it around. All I've got to do is disconnect from the bottom here. Okay. So basically I've just got to change the inlet from one side to the other. Okay, so that comes off pretty easy. And so I've just got to put it this side. And don't forget to take the seal out. And so then you take the plug out the other side, which is pretty much the same size. There we go. Pretty easy to do. Okay, so now I'll just put this on the right side and then I'll put the inlet valve on the left. So put that the right way around. Okay, just hold it in place and just close that off. Okay, all right, so that's closed off, sitting nicely. Okay, so now I'm going to put a brand new hose on. Okay, so you don't do these very tight, just nip them. All right, so I'm just going to test it. Okay, so I'm going to give this a flush and see how it goes. Beautiful. I really like this bowl. So that looks really good. There's no water leaking, but one flush is not enough. You need to do this at least 3 to 4 times. So I'm just going to do it over and over. Okay, so the reason I'm testing it a number of times, because when you sit the bowl over the collar, you can't actually see how it's sitting. So you need to flush it a few times to actually make sure that it's in the right position. Now, once you flushed it a few times and there's no water coming in from the base, just creeping out through the sides, then it's almost guaranteed it's fine. And then what you do then, you seal it off with silicone. So I'll be doing that shortly. Okay, so while I'm testing it, I'm going to now put the last piece on, which is this tray. Okay, so it basically just sits over this threaded nut that holds the elbow in place. So basically just sit it in, just push it nicely from underneath and just push that through. Okay, once you put the tray in, then place the seat on top and just sit it just over the edge. And so we know where the mark is, just mark it just to the back of it, not a problem. Now, from there, you can go up to 18 mil this direction. Okay, so now we've got our mark, so just cut that across. Okay, so that looks good. I'll just put this back into position. Okay, so now I'll just place the toilet seat in. So basically just put these in place and then drop them in. Pull that tray up and push that in. All right, so once that's in, and then you just use these nuts from the base. You're gonna have to use 2 hands. There we go. These are a little bit awkward to get in, as you could probably notice with me. Okay, so I'm holding the bottom of the thread and just screwing the wing nut in. Okay, so that's in. All right, so you just got to make sure it's sitting in the right position before you screw it off. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. I'm going to flush it for the 5th time. All right, so just make sure the cover goes on. Okay, so that sits beautifully. That's a nice looking unit actually. So now I'm just going to put my level on here, and that is spot on perfect.
Awesome.
Okay, so now the last thing to do is silicone around the base of the toilet. And so to do that, I'll just use a bathroom kitchen laundry silicone, which has a mold inhibitor. So once I cork on the silicone, then I'm going to use this product called Paint Partner, and I'll wipe it off. First spray and then wipe it off using these rubbers, and it'll clean it up perfectly and leave no silicone residue. Okay. And so with the Paint Partner, just basically hold it in place square to the toilet and just run that around. Look how easy that cleans it. So easy. Such a basic idea. So yeah, I don't do any silicone these days without using the Paint Partner. So I mean, what do you think?
Awesome.
It turned out well, eh?
Yeah.
I haven't done a toilet like that for a long, long time. I've been using close couple toilets. In actual fact, even though they're a lot more expensive, they're so easy to put in compared to these ones. So the only thing I've got to do now is patch up behind the cistern and also just patch up the wall, which is pretty easy to do. So you happy with that?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So the only instruction I'm going to give you is let that silicone dry at least 24 hours, but more likely 48 hours. Is that okay?
No problem.
Good. Now, so even though this wasn't too hard to do, there was a couple of tricky bits that I had to get around. So if you're not confident doing this kind of work, I will put a link below for a plumber in the Sydney region. And I'll also put a link for the toilet and all the products I used today, just in case you're looking for them. Okay, so that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. And if you have any comments at all, please leave them below and I will get back to you. And I'd ask you, please consider to subscribe, hit the like button and share this video, and there's many more to come. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.